Hi, I'm Shimelle Laine, and I'm here with a new edition of Sketch to Scrapbook page. Today I am working with sketch 33 for 2013, which includes one 4x6 landscape photo with a story that's going to accompany that. So a good example for a photo that you really want to explain in words, and still gives a lot of space on the page to one pattern paper. I'm using my Best of Both Worlds kit, and if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link just below the video that will take you to the blog post that includes all the notes on the supplies and everything else. Now, I'm going to add one thing into today's kit, and that's a sheet of craft cardstock. Just plain craft cardstock, and that's because I'm going to be using a photo from our backpacking adventure. It looks a little bit of an odd photo, but it has a story that I really want to get written down and put in my album. And my backpacking albums all start on craft cardstock. So I'm only going to have a little bit of it showing around the edge, so it's not going to really be a huge part of the design at all, but it is just a little change that I'm going to make the sketch and the supplies work really well for the continuity in my album. So all of the pages in that album have that same starting point, even though they have different supplies, different designs all the way through the albums. Okay, so I'm going to start by using this camera print as the 12 by 12 background, but just adding in that little frame around the edge to have the craft cardstock. So I'll trim down the camera print just a little bit. That's from October Afternoon's Travel Girl collection. Then I have two pattern papers at least that I'm going to use in the middle of the page. One that needs to be plain enough that I can add journaling and my title to that block, and then another to go around the outside of the photo and highlight that. Then once I've got my title, journaling, and photo all in place, then I'll work on the embellishment that's going to go above and below the picture. So far, I'm keeping this really simple. So I've added the vertical block and the photo mat. I did go ahead and add two layers behind the photo, one solid and one polka dot, because with the polka dot on its own, I thought it was a little bit too chaotic. With the solid on its own, I thought it was a little bit too plain. So I separated the polka dot from the photo with that solid color, and that gives me a little bit of a happy medium, so I can still have more color coming into the page without it overwhelming the photo. And then my title is partly the golden thickers and partly the small letter stickers from the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet, and this gives me my space to write my journaling underneath the title, and then come back up to the top with some embellishment and some embellishment at the bottom of the page. Really, really quick and simple. My journaling fits in here nicely, and then I'm ready to add some embellishment above and below. And I wanted to start with this camera sticker that's from the Amy Tangerine sticker book in the kit. I picked that out because I like how the two different camera illustrations kind of coordinate. Even though they're from different collections, they're in really different styles, but the coloring is similar, and I like that this one is just kind of a softer version of the pattern paper. So I like this as an embellishment, and on the sketch there is a box of pattern paper behind this, but I'm thinking that I'd actually prefer to omit the box and instead add pop dots to bring this up off the edge of the page so that there'll be a shadow behind and that natural bit of dimension. So I'm going to give that a try, and I could use it at the bottom of the page as well, but I don't have enough room for this size sticker at the bottom of the page below the journaling, so I'll need to find something smaller to go there. Let's start with this larger element up here. And I'm just going to have that overlap ever so slightly. I don't want to take away from the photo, but by having it overlap a little bit, then my sticker here is going to overlap the photo, the two photo mats here, and this box, and onto the pattern paper background up here. So that gives me a good way to connect all those different layers and make them feel like they belong. I need to find something that's going to work at the bottom of the page there, so have a look through my stickers, and I think this is also a good one to bring in the Studio Calico stamp set that was one of the options with this kit. I needed a little bit more space for my journaling than what's on the original sketch, so I have a little bit less room here at the bottom for my embellishment. So I'm just going to have something that's a little bit smaller and not so much open space. There's still room there to add something pretty, and I decided I would go with that same sticker book and the gray stickers and the pop dots, but this time bring in a little bit of the turquoise. So I'm going to start with that at the bottom of the page here. need to fix the pop dots. One of them is not in the right place there, but I'll get to that in just a second. And then I'm going to bring in the stamps, and I thought I could use them as a border. Now, on this sketch, the border effect only happens at the bottom and then the top is left plain. But I kind of like the idea of repeating it with two different stamps. So this Explore stamp is a little bit of a larger word, and it fits in that gap nicely with the larger sticker. Then I thought I could use the smaller sticker that says Happy Travels, or the smaller stamp, at the bottom of the page along with the smaller sticker. So I'm just going to stamp those in black since I did the journaling in black, and should be a really simple, quick way to add that nice tiny little detail. So now it has pretty much everything that's on the sketch, and I think it's okay to leave it here at this point. It doesn't look too bare or anything, but I would like to add a little bit more to it that's going to help it fit in my album in the same sort of format as all the other pages in that section. It's just a little plainer than those. So I'm going to add a few little extras. Because this photo is quite plain, I'm going to add a sticker that's actually on top of the photo, and I think I'll put it just off the edge. And then I want to work with this space here a little bit. So I have a flare badge with a little globe and a heart, and my backpacking albums include lots of camera and globe motifs. And then you can see in that camera print at the top, it has a little heart in the lens of the camera. So I like how that can connect all these different elements. Just try and get that in the right place so that it's going to overlap the letter sticker and the edge of the yellow pattern paper. But I have a little bit of room here, so see if there's a sticker or a stamp that would fit in that gap well, and just give it a little bit more detail. I have a few of these small little stickers that I think I could put in a row to pick up the different colors in the layout. I might trade that one that I just put down. Put this one on the outside edge here, because this one's aqua, and then that way this aqua is on the yellow, so it doesn't matter that it's not a complete exact shade match to that. So now I've got a little bit more there. I can bring in a little bit more texture with some enamel dots. And a little triangle. And maybe also just down here at the bottom of the page, but I think I'll go with the darker shade, since the bottom of the page could do with a little bit of anchoring. There are some darker elements at the top of the page with the heavier stamping and the mat around the frame around the photo. So I think having that little bit of extra saturated color down there at the bottom will be helpful. And I think I'm a little bit happier with it now, thinking I might just have something that would tuck away in that edge, maybe with a little word, or I might stamp a word in this gap, but I am very nearly finished. So I'm just looking through what I have left in my kit to see what would be useful. I think I will go with a stamp. So I'll just find a different word than what I've already used. And in fact, this sticker or the stamp sheet has some designs that are a little bit like a postmark, so I can use this word on a curve and fit it in with the circle. But because I have the flare badge here, I could use this space just to have the circle go around the outside of the flare and not use the other part of the stamp. So I quite like that. I think what I will do is get it all set in the right place and then remove the badge for just a minute, because that will make it a lot easier to stamp there. And I should be able to fit that back in that spot. And now the stamp is perfectly around that little circle. So handy to have those two together. And this is where I'll call this one complete. You can see the finished version along with the printable version of the sketch and a second interpretation of this sketch on the blog if you just click that link through to the post. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. And if you'd like to watch a little more today, I've highlighted 3 different layouts that feature 1 photo each.